All right, so guys, we have to talk about the Nightmare on Elm Street box set a little bit. Todd and I decided we're gonna sort of take these two at a time. So every week we're gonna talk about
Yeah.
two of them. We've discussed the first one. That's kind of old news. So we're gonna talk about two and three. That way we'll get through the other four in the next two streams. But we both watched Nightmare on Elm Street 2 and 3 this week, and I mean, what else can we say? I think I knew what I was kind of getting into with them because we had already watched the first one, which is packaged in this already. That came out a la carte, and it looked fantastic. These are the same. I think they look great. I remember I asked Todd. I was like, "Man, what?" I don't remember if it's just the nature of the film or if it's if it's a slag on the 4K, but 3 just seemed really dark, especially after watching 2. But you told me that just it's always been a dark film.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's dark because God, the first one's dark, so of course the third one's gonna be dark as well. I mean, with Wes Craven, so yeah, it's not like the second one at all. But I mean,
It's
I
just
still think
literally
it
it
looked
did
great.
I'm just
I
saying, like,
thought,
literally, it's dim. Like,
yeah,
the
it is, it
stuff is
is,
dim, but it looks fantastic. I think 3 is, obviously the most visually impressive movie in the whole franchise with the effects and whatnot. Uh, I mean, I still love all the first 3. I don't know. I think if you've watched that first 4K of the original movie, you're not gonna be disappointed with either 2 or 3. The sound is fantastic. If you guys have a Dolby setup or whatever, it sounds great, dude. And it's hard watching the Nightmare on Elm Street movies with a newborn with my Dolby speakers,
yeah.
dude. It's like you wanna, like, constantly be turning it up and down because as
Do you have
soon
a
as
Dolby setup? Like, what kind of setup do you have? Like, is it a Dolby soundbar? Because I just have
no,
like the
I've
Vizio Dolby soundbar with the two speakers in the back too,
no, I've
and the
got
sub.
I've got, 2 big
Oh, you have
clips.
the Klipsch. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't have
You
a
don't have a
woofer yet.
subwoofer?
I'm gonna put it
Okay,
on my Christmas list though.
do it.
But, from what I've heard with this model I got the 5s. That's what I got, the Klipsch
Okay.
5s,
Yeah.
and they sound incredible. They
Mhm.
have 7s, the 7 but that's just fucking
Yeah,
overkill.
it's overkill,
But,
yeah.
I hear if you have the woofer, it'll automatically cut out the low frequencies
Mhm.
and prioritize them to the woofer and prioritize the highs and mids up here. So I
Yeah.
wonder, honestly, it might even be overkill. Like I'm not missing a subwoofer. I just want one
Yeah.
because it's just insane. And I'm constantly babying that remote because it's like you're talking, it's dialogue, great, great. But as soon as like a Freddy thing or fucking Jesse screams in parts two, it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's so loud, and I'm like
Mhm.
the windows are shaking, man, and I gotta like turn it down. And me, I probably keep the whole neighborhood up because I like to. I gotta compartmentalize, man. I started like I play guitar while I'm watching movies a lot of
Yeah,
time.
I do too, yeah.
And if I'm playing guitar, I want to hear myself. So I turn up the fucking shit so loud on the
Yep.
TV. It probably annoys people, but whatever. But what was your takeaway, from watching both of these? Were they consistent, or was one of them better than the other? Could you really nitpick, or
You know what? Like, I've always liked part 2 better, but, you know, going back and rewatching it, I would say part 3 is better.
yeah, no, I'm
Um,
the same. I'm the same. You know what? I think for the longest time, because I'm one of these guys that love part 2 ever since I was a little
Me
kid.
too.
And all
Yeah.
you fucking pretenders out there that are like, "Oh, part two's good now." You guys always hated it.
Yeah,
But I
exactly.
feel like like Charlie Sheen, I'm flipping the menu.
We were championing part 2 for the longest fucking time.
But yeah, but we're flipping the menu on it because I think just over, I think over the years. Yeah, I think I'm just, like, going back to the other side now. Now I'm, like, doing what everybody else used to say. Dude, 3 is undeniable,
Mhm.
because it's just it's so impressive.
Yeah.
It's got the greatest fucking kills and death sequences from the Freddy worm, to, even the dream power stuff is really cool. It's just it it does the ensemble cast so well. It really is a true sequel to the first one.
Yes, yes.
Because the first one is what it is, and then, like, when you have a sequel, you're like, "Okay, we have to do something similar but bigger," and they did just that. You bring back Heather Langenkamp, it continues her story a bit, John Saxon, but now we're gonna, instead of it just being, well, I guess Heather Langenkamp had friends and stuff that were getting killed off, but they were just like lambs for the slaughter. They were getting knocked off. This one, it's like, hey, we have a bunch of stars. These are all leading characters. We got Patricia Arquette, you got Ken Sagos, you got all these different people, and they don't all die. Most
No.
of them
Yeah.
live. So
Yeah.
it's like you got a bunch of Heather Langenkamps. You got a lot of people to sort of center on, and a great cast of supporting people like Larry Fishburne's great. And yeah, and they get really daring with the story. It's like they're adding lore, but it doesn't come off like too much, like the whole Amanda Kruger thing and the all that stuff is really world building, and it's really neat and it's creepy, and yeah, it's fantastic. And I was watching, it should be noted that there's on this entire set, there's only 2 new special features on the entire set, and it's like 2 15-minute, like, featurette interviews. It
Mhm.
really is kinda lazy.
Yeah.
So everything that I watched on 2 and 3 was just ported over straight from the Blu-rays, if you guys have those. But I still watched them all again anyway, and it's interesting to hear them talk with, what's it? Chuck Russell. I almost said
Chuck
Chuck Schumer.
Russell, yeah.
I almost said Chuck Schumer. Chuck
Yeah.
Schumer, Chuck Russell was talking about, and he was like, with Frank Darabont.
Mhm.
There's like an old interview with them, and they were talking about how their mindset following up the first movie, coming off of the second one, because it seems like a lot of people don't care for the second one that weren't a part of the second one. And Wes Craven was going to direct, and somehow that didn't happen. But he obviously still wrote the first
Yep.
draft, and
Yep.
but it had his blessing and all that stuff. But they were talking about how they had to recapture some of the essence of the first movie, but at the same time, they're like, we injected life into Freddy. I was like, I guess we were kind of responsible for Freddy becoming a cartoon character, but obviously he became more of a fucking joke as it went on. What they did in 3 was great, but they were kind of taking ownership. It's like, I guess we were kind of responsible for starting the ball rolling on the one-liners and all that shit. It just got a little out of control. But in 3, it's where's the fucking bourbon, bitch? There's just so many classic
Yeah.
lines.
And,
Uh,
yeah, no, I totally get it, and, I mean, 3 compared to 1, like, I would say 1's still probably my favorite out of all 3 of those just because Wes Craven, I don't know, I have more nostalgia for 1 because, I don't know, I grew up on 1, but I love 3. Chuck Russell, I think is great. Um, he also did some other films, so he peaked early, though, so he did this, and then he did The Blob, and then, the next thing he did was The Mask, so he peaked at 87, 88, which was, Nightmare 3 and The Blob remake, so after that, it was pretty much downhill from him.
and what they were talking about was there's producers and people in this interview that I was watching where I know Wes Craven, I don't know. I didn't even bother looking who got the shared credit. Like, I don't know if Wes got the exclusive credit or if Darabont got a co-credit. I don't know, but I think Darabont basically wrote the shooting script. And a lot of times, sometimes the rule of thumb is just whoever writes the first draft is the writer, regardless
Mhm.
of rewrites.
Yeah,
Sometimes they share credit, and you see like X-Men 2. I always think about X2.
sure.
For you nerds out there, look, okay, the first X-Men movie, it's got like I think David Hayter is the only writer. He
Mm,
played, David Hayter is the voice of Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid, but
yeah.
he's a screenwriter too. But if you look at X-Men 2, David Hayter's in there, but there's like a fucking 15 names. And but you know, uh I think in the first X-Men, they probably had rewrites too, because I've watched an interview with him, and he's like, "Yeah, I got this one line in there that was on my," because it's like, oh, other people wrote, finished redid the drafts and whatever. But so I don't know what makes people like follow one rule or other. Stallone gets writing credits all the time. Stallone got the sole writing credit, I think, for Creed 2. He just wrote the first draft.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, maybe they look at it as, "Hey, how much did we change it?" Maybe that's it. It's like, you know what? It got punched up and we cleaned it up or whatever. We fixed the dialogue. But for all intents and purposes, the first draft, it's pretty. From what they were saying for Nightmare 3, they were saying, I don't know how much Wes is really intact, because they were talking about the producers like, Wes, the script he turned in, he's like, frankly, we couldn't do it. He's like, all this shit was so fucking wacky. He's like, we couldn't pull any of this stuff off. He's
Yeah,
like,
but it felt like Wes's tone, I mean, a lot. It mirrored the first one, not as
but
a little more hokey, I get it, but it's a lot different from part 2.
it wasn't even just, okay, well, there's certain effects and kills they had to adjust because they weren't practical to pull off budget wise. But no, They were it was affected story because they said, so Wes just did the first draft. This one producer was saying Wes's story wasn't working because Fred in his version, Freddy could turn into anything. He was
Mm.
just too powerful. So they clearly changed a lot. It's like, yeah, in his story, Freddy could do anything. He could turn into everybody. He had no weakness or whatever. And so it makes me really wish I could read. There had to have been some closure to Wes's scripts because, like, how did Freddy just win? Like, there's got to be an Achilles heel somewhere. It's a little weird. It's a little random that they do like the holy water thing,
Yeah, yeah,
because they
and
don't
I
really.
even Wes's, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1, I mean, the ending was hokey and dumb, but I don't know, I still like it just because, I mean, it doesn't make any sense with grabbing the mother to the window and stuff. It's dumb, but I don't know, something about that stuff, it just brings back a lot of memories for me.
But night and day budget wise. The first one's
Yeah, yeah,
clearly a
yeah,
smaller movie, but
mhm,
I think the effects are great. I think the
yeah,
spandex on the fucking wall are great. The Johnny Depp waterbed looks fantastic. The
mhm.
tricks they utilize, they were still doing impressive shit in that first
Oh,
movie.
yeah,
Like the Rod and Tina getting killed. They built the set upside down with
yeah.
like the bed and shit. So they were just like reversing. It was
The
wild. It's like
characters are
that's
great, yeah,
and but in Nightmare 3, they had stop motion Freddy, puppet
mhm,
Freddy. They
yeah.
had the big
The
penis
worm,
snake,
yeah,
the penis worm. They had all like the Freddy house stuff. That's the first time they ever like went into the house. 1, 2 in the dream sequence because Patricia Arquette and stuff like that. Because we didn't see that in the first one, right? I mean, it was just
no,
boiler room stuff. And in the second one, Freddy's in real life. Me and you, Jesse. Oh, I got the body, you got the brains. So this is the first time we kind of saw, which I think became sort of a trope, a common like thing. But like there's the girls with doing the fucking jump, hop, scotch, and jump rope,
yeah.
and you're entering the Freddy house, and so a lot of firsts in this one.
The darker tone was nice in the second one with Freddy, but, I mean, like we were saying, I used to like it better, but I don't know, the more I watched, like, I'm looking forward to seeing 4 again because 4 I haven't seen in 5 years now, so who knows, maybe I like 4 better than 3.
I mean, 2 is still fucking wild.
It's
And
good.
it's just
I
like,
like 2.
I mean, but clearly it wasn't really franchised yet, and they didn't know what they were doing. We just know we want a sequel to the first one. So you have this one guy, you could tell the second one feels like the first one in a way.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
it feels like the first one in a way that the third one does not. Whereas, like,
I
the
agree.
third one feels like the first one in a lot of ways, the second one does not. Freddy was very guttural. Freddy was the Freddy from the first one
Mhm.
in the second one. And he's got a great burn victim look in that. I think Freddy looks really creepy in it. But I think it's just like a Halloween situation where, hey, we killed off Michael Myers. Okay, let's do something now. Let's do the Shamrock Fact. They didn't know what to do with Freddy. They hadn't built the world yet. And
Mhm.
three just sort of established, okay, this is the universe. This is the rules we play by. This is the canon. Because in three, for all intents and purposes, they kind of just ignore two.
Yeah, they did.
And
Absolutely.
same thing with like Wes Craven's New Nightmare. You don't see cameos with Mark Patton because you at the funeral New Nightmare, you have Rod there. He brought back like cast members that were going to like Heather Langenkamp's husband's funeral, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think you even see Tina there, but there's no Mark Patton, there's no bootleg Meryl Streep. I literally think they just kind of forget it ever existed. I'm pretty sure Bob Shea wants to forget about dressing up in bondage at the fucking
I love that. I
but
I was sending you photos of that while I was watching it.
yeah, no, but they're great. I like how it's different, but yeah, fantastic. Yeah, we're looking forward to going through. Is there anything else you want to bring up about them?
No, let's, jump into the next one.
They look great. The next one. Well, they look great. Next week we're gonna do 4 and no, yeah, 4 and 5. Looking forward to watching 4. 4 is always a lot of fun. I've got a soft spot for it. 5 is kind of shit. 6 is really shit. And I'm looking forward to watching New Nightmare because New Nightmare is like Spawn. There's something about 90s New Line Cinema where it's like they're really good swings, but they're not quite hits.
No,
If
like I was saying, 4 was my first, horror film that I saw, so that's one I wanna go back to in
everybody
4K.
shits on the fucking karate Invisible Freddy fight
Oh,
that they had
yeah.
to do on a budget because they
Mhm,
couldn't get Robert back. I love that. I used to love that
mhm.
as a kid. Like, oh man, how scary would that be? I'm in a dojo alone with an invisible Freddy I can't see.